Dun, 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 dun. Okay, okay, okay. Got some more people coming in. Fun fact, today is yours truly. It's my birthday. So I'm excited to showcase to you guys, especially my gift to you guys is Mission Control. And no worries. As much as I love Mission Control, I got a half day. So we're gonna go ahead and knock this out. Make sure I answer all your questions, any of them, all of them, and then, you know, keep going. Q&A up, and we got the participants up. Lovely, lovely, lovely. All right, let's go ahead and get started. While they file in, they can file in. If you have any questions, put it in the chat. I'll most likely answer it at the end of the presentation. But if it's coming up and it's pretty relevant to what I'm talking about currently, I might just, answer it, you know, as you ask it. So that being said, Mission Control, your project management command center solution demonstration. Again, yours truly. So, intro. My name is Ike Amadosi. I am the account executive here at Aprica, but this product that we're talking about here is Mission Control. I've been in the Salesforce ecosystem for quite some time now, a little bit newer to Aprica, but the reason this is important is because Mission Control is built natively on the Salesforce platform. So if you understand Salesforce, you've seen a taste of it, you've seen, you kind of have some inkling around what Salesforce does and how it works. You already have a leg up on Mission Control because we're native. We're adopting all the rules, configurations, customizations, setups, and settings. We're adopting all of that again because we're native and built on platform. So we're not a separate platform. We're built on platform on Salesforce. So we're going to talk about Mission Control history a little bit, licensing, and then we're going to jump into the demonstration that you guys are obviously here for. So real quickly, I won't spend too much time on this, but Mission Control history, 2012, Colin Johnson and his best mate Chris, they were Salesforce implementators. I can never say that word right. And essentially, they wanted an in-house tool to help them, manage their projects better. But once they saw the breadth and the capability of Mission Control, they started expanding upon it, right? They started adding scheduler, role utilization, timesheets, meeting manager, all these different features that made sense to these companies that were looking at Mission Control and saying, hey, we need this feature to be more successful in our business, right? So from 2012 all the way to 2023, we've affected over 500,000 projects, 8 million time logs, 25 countries, and over 12,000 total users. And what you don't see here is our customer support as well. Our customer support is rated very highly. You can go ahead, look on the App Exchange, 4.9 stars, because we are delivering not only a great platform, but a great customer service to go along with it. So that way you are understanding the platform to face the fullest capabilities. And also, if you have any questions, inquiries, or you just want to chat with support, we're there for you, right? So quick Mission Control history there, starting from 2012 all the way to 2023, making sure we're evolving and listening to the customers as we evolve. And when I say that we are built on the Salesforce platform, we are. And here's the Salesforce licenses that are currently supported from professional, enterprise, all the way to performance and Chatter Plus, right? So we are making sure to, and let me go ahead and quit this. We're making sure to, really hit all levels of it, right? From professional all the way to unlimited performance and Chatter and all that good stuff. And since we're built natively on the platform, natively on Salesforce, it comes with some benefits, like I mentioned earlier in the conversation. So when we talk about Salesforce, Salesforce is key and it's very important or its main pusher essentially is the customization behind it, right? So it's custom fields, page layouts, business logic. We talk about validation rules, workflow rules, process builders, and triggers, essentially adding automation into the business logic. We're getting that again because we are built natively on Salesforce, and Salesforce takes advantage of that customization and configuration right there. Also, when we talk about benefits, it's our reports and dashboards, right? So those reports and dashboards that you're familiar with, we're able to now pull out project management data. And if you're familiar with Salesforce, all the data that you put into Salesforce is able to be reported on and create a dashboard from it. Also, we're accessible via Salesforce mobile app. So if you are on the move and you're a worker and you want to log some time, you can do that from your phone. If you want to log an action as complete, you can do that from your phone as well. No integration required. Install and set up in minutes. Familiar user interface because, again, Salesforce is familiar. And of course, we work on both Salesforce Classic and Lightning Experience. I will say, if you are still on Salesforce Classic, kudos to you. I don't know how you're doing it, but you're doing it. So good job. But with that being said, we do work both on Salesforce Classic and Lightning Experience. So for our demonstration today, we're going to be focused on two main personas here, Ike Mendoza and Alana Blancard, right? So Ike Mendoza is going to be the project manager. He's going to be focused on one specific project. He only cares about what he needs to care about, right? One project, that's me. I'll handle that. And then Alana on the management team is going to be like, all right, I need to see multiple projects. I need to see what the workload is like. And I want to be able to visualize team's data through reports and dashboards. So first and foremost, when we focus on Ike Mendoza, the project manager, we're going to go ahead and create a project. We're going to view a project, complete an action, communicate with team members, and see project timeline. I will say within Mission Control, there's many different ways to do one thing, right? So there's many different ways to create a project. There's many different ways to complete an action. There's many different ways to log time. We do this on purpose because we know different individuals, when we talk about adopting a new system, they have different ways of doing things. So whatever way you choose to do it, whether it be from the whiteboard or the Gantt chart, where how you want to complete an action or log time, you can do it. It all goes into a data. It all goes into a report. So that way, Alana, when she looks at it, she understands, all right, everything is clean data, no duplicates there. And I understand what's going on in the business. So with image control, many different ways to do a certain thing, and you just kind of go to what makes sense for you personally, right? So with that being said, and again, if there's any questions, ask. You're confused about something, ask. If you have feedback, let me know. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump into our demonstration. So, like I mentioned earlier, Mission Control is a very, very, very familiar interface because we are built natively on the Salesforce platform, right? So we're essentially a project management skin on top of Salesforce, pulling in project management data into your Salesforce environment, which is great because we want a one-stop shop, right? Salesforce does a lot, but some things it doesn't do too hot without custom configuration, and even with custom configuration, it's still not hitting the markers we wanted to hit. So that's where we bring in our project management tool, Mission Control, to bring in, again, that project management data into your Salesforce environment. So real quick run through of what we're seeing here is the Mission Control console. We have, first and foremost, our Launchpad. Anything new, when we talk about launching a new project, a new role, a new team, whatever the case may be, can be found in Launchpad. Our Progress Pad, self-explanatory. Anything that's in progress, that's going to be in the Progress Pad. Management Pad makes more sense for individuals like Ike Mendoza and Alana Blancard, the managerial team, as opposed to a team member, right? But for a managerial team, we want to see a high-level overview of what's going on, whether it be our project overview, or maybe just get a scheduler, understand how our resources are allocated and if they're allocated fairly. That can be found in Management Pad, of course, throughout the whole system. And last but not least is our control pad, which is essentially unlocking more settings specifically within Mission Control, whether you want to set up some project status reports, which is going to be like a weekly status report, sending out to your customers, your stakeholders, whoever the case may be. You can send it to them once a week and say, hey, this is the progress we've made on our project so far, things of that nature. Or you can have some more, custom configuration, custom settings for the specific features within Mission Control. We won't dive in too much into it because, again, it can get intensive, or it can get very, very granular for a good reason, though, because with our customer base, some individuals want to get as custom as possible, whether it gets into whiteboard, Gantt chart, whatever the case may be, they want to get more granular. They can find that here in the control pad. So with that being said, I want to highlight something very, very important right off the bat. Because Mission Control is built on the Salesforce platform, we are very customizable, right? So if there's some things that you do not want your team members to see, so like I mentioned, I'm a manager. I need to see the management pad. But for a team member, maybe you don't want them to see the management pad. So for the team member individuals, remove it from view. Most of the things that you see within this demonstration, if you don't like it, you don't want it, remove it from view. If it doesn't make sense to you right now, remove it, right? But if, at some point, whenever it does become relevant, you can add it back, all right? Something very important to note. So for example, I'm a manager, I want to see this management pad, but for a team member, maybe I don't want them to see the launch pad, manager pad, or control pad. I want the team member only to see the progress pad. You can do that for all your team members, all right? So let's go ahead and jump into an opportunity, because we understand that a project is not just a project. It doesn't start off as a project. We need to have it as an opportunity. Something has to happen before we create the project. So within Salesforce and within Mission Control as well, mainly Mission Control, is the fact that what we're able to do is we're able to generate a project on opportunity closed, or we have some customers that say, hey, I don't want to wait until the opportunity close or the opportunity is closed one to create a project. I want to create a project before it's closed one, right? So that is also possible. So let's say you want to create a project on the negotiation review phase. We can add some logic and add some automation that says, all right, once we hit the negotiation review phase, generate a project request or generate a project, right? But for this example, what I'll go ahead and do is I'm looking at closed one. So whenever I hit closed one status, I want to automatically generate a project based on a template that I've defined. So I said a good bit of information there. Within Mission Control, we can create templates, project templates for standardized practices or standardized projects or actions, right? So for this specific example for our webinar, I'm looking at our website build template. And I'll go ahead and open a link in a new tab, and we can go ahead and dive into that a little bit later. But essentially, this template is having those standardized practices whenever I'm like, all right, I have a new website build opportunity, and I want to go ahead and create a project from it. So for this example, we're going to have a Mission Control webinar website build looking at the actions and milestones standard in this template that we've defined. So within here, like I said, Mission Control in Salesforce is very customizable. What I've done actually was add some more custom fields here. So on this opportunity page, if you want to add more custom fields to get an extra layer of depth, you absolutely can. And it's always going to be connected to the account and the project that you have assigned it to or you attached it with. And I like to do that because I like more information. More information is better than no information. I hope we can agree there. And location is not Delaware, because I honestly don't know a single individual in my life that lives in Delaware. So let's go Atlanta. Atlanta's a better city or a better place, right? So I'll go ahead and generate a project, and we're gonna do this more manually. I'm gonna hit save. Once I vetted all this information out, I'll go ahead and save. So like I mentioned, there's two ways that this automation kind of shoots out. One is automatically, right? So whenever it hits closed one status, it's gonna look at the template that you defined, and it's gonna automatically generate a project. For this presentation, I want to do a little bit more manually so that we can walk through it together. So again, first way, if it hits closed one status, automatically generate a project. But I'm going to go ahead and push it to closed one status. And then we should see a project be spun up, and looky there, a project has now been spun up based on the template that we have defined. Okay. So the template that we're looking at is going to be this template, right? So placeholder project manager is my project owner because it's a template. I don't want anybody assigned to a template. I just want them to have their standardized actions and practices defined in the template. So right here, we have our design, build, and deliver milestones, and that's all going to be found within the template. And the actions underneath it, again, is attached to this template. And even to get even a more concise view of what the template holds, I'll go through another way to create a project. This via the clone project. So let's pull up our template, our website build template, and then we can look at our clone project. So when we do this, it's going to give us more details and more granularity in terms of the things that we want to define in the project, right? So again, this project name is template website build, but if I want to rename it anything, I'm gonna say website build clone, or let me say Walmart website build. You can see I've used that example before, right? I should probably use Sam's Club, switch it up a little bit. But the reason for this template, and for example, having placeholders is because maybe we don't know who has availability just yet. So I'll just keep it as a placeholder. And then whenever we create the project, we can reassign individuals that we see that has availability there. But this is a good place for us to real quickly go through the settings and setup of a project. So again, we can attach to account, an opportunity, and even describe it a little bit. Our different billing types is fixed price, expenses, time and materials, control the milestones, and deposit T&M. We can have different billing and cost rates, role-based, skill-based, or rate card. So if you want to have the same individual on the project, but they have different skills that they're applying to the project, you can do a skill-based a project, so that or a skill-based billing rate and cost rate. I mean, so that way, whenever you have person A that can do the development skill, and he can do like a painting skill. Development skill costs $200 per hour, while the painting skill costs 100. So you can have one resource applied to multiple skills. All right, over time, and all the good stuff, I'm kind of giving you a little breeze through. Billing cycle, manual, milestone, periodic, frequency, weekly, fortnightly, monthly, quarterly, all that stuff. All right. So again, like I mentioned, those milestones that we saw, the design is a milestone, the build milestone, and the deliver is going to be underneath this. So again, we're looking at the design milestone and our actions. And if you want to kind of change some things around when we clone a project here, we can. So if you want to clone a template and add some more, different settings and different layouts, you can. All right. Cool. Go ahead and cancel this. And let's go ahead and jump into the project that I have built out a little bit more. All right. So again, I will state this very bluntly. If there's anything that you're seeing here that may be a little bit too much information, something that you don't want to really showcase in the screen, remove it. Most everything that I'm seeing, well, everything that you're seeing right now is going to be out of the box. Okay. And then if you want to remove some things, most everything that I'm showing, you can remove from view. So if you don't like some of these pieces of information here, you can remove it from this page. But as a project manager, I like to see this because I can get a quick insight of how I'm going and how I'm progressing throughout my project, right? So the cost performance index let me know how I'm performing against my budget, my estimation versus actual, as well as my schedule performance index show me estimation versus actual. Anything above a 1, I'm doing great, and I am doing marvelous. I have a 2.07. Sounds like a raise is in my future, and we're doing great against our schedule as well. We have our completed actions, completed checklist items. It looks like, unfortunately, we have a risk that may have turned into an issue. So I'll go ahead and vet that out as well when I'm going through this project. But now we have our hours and financials at the bottom here as well. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and dive into overview here. So like I mentioned earlier, it's based off a template. The template that we defined had design, build, and deliver. And when I look at my design milestone, I can see that we have 2 completed actions. And even, I don't even have to pull this down. I can easily see that this design milestone, design, build, and deliver, I can see that the design milestone is A-OK and it's complete. So that's great to see. And I want to take a quick second to kind of denote this as well. Our hierarchy system goes from, in this view that we're seeing, goes from project to milestone to actions. And if you want to get a little even more granular, checklist items. So we can have checklist items attached to actions, so that way you can specifically instruct individuals on an action. Say, all right, for you to say that this design wireframes action is complete, you've completed a contact us page, content page, and home page. You've done those things. So once you check those things off, I can say that this design wireframes is complete. So this is great. I can see that we have our first milestone is done, and we have our time logged, as well as completion percentage. Awesome. And something to note on this specific project, I have it to where I invoice on milestone completion. So once I finish my first milestone, the design milestone, it's going to shoot out an invoice. And then once I complete my last milestone, it's going to shoot out an invoice. So what that's going to do is going to record the financials within Mission Control. It's not going to make the actual transaction. So we can issue the invoice, connect it to an accounting software, and once the accounting software says, all right, payment has been received, Mission Control is going to say, all right, payment has been received. So it's going to talk to that accounting software that actually made that transaction. All right. So our design milestone is complete, and I believe a milestone has been shot out, or a billing invoice has been shot out. And now let's go ahead and look into our build framework. And as you can see, these arrows are denoting something very important, basically saying it's 12/13. You have not started yet. This is overdue, right? And then this yellow is kind of saying, all right, guy, it's coming up. Finish it. It's coming up, right? But there's something I immediately know, right? So earlier when we looked at our insights, we saw that we had two issues. When I move over to my right here, I can see these yellow icons here. What these yellow icons are denoting is an issue, right? So I believe that Kai Lenny came in here and maybe recorded an issue, as well as Kelly Slater came in here and recorded an issue around build page content. So what I'll go ahead and do, I'm gonna double click. I want to double click it and do my due diligence as a project manager to see what is going on. So for this specific issue, it looks like we calculated the issue owner. Thank you, thank you. We have a bug on the component, and it's related to a risk. So remember when I said we have a risk and issue. So risk for me personally is kind of like precautionary. It's like, all right, something may affect this project, but then when it does affect the project, it is now an issue. So it looks like this has been connected from a risk and it's been upgraded from a risk to an issue. And the way Kelly did it was she connected to the risk so that way we can always have that visibility there, right? Priority, I'll say this is a high priority. I'm gonna change that for her, but we can see the issues that we have here. Oh, okay. And then she can leave notes. So it looks like it's going to end up moving the project back a couple of days. That's not what I like to hear as a project manager, but thank you for letting me know, I guess. Thank you. So what I'll go ahead and do, I'll go ahead and, it's not resolved. We know it's not resolved. It's going to take a couple of weeks. So what I'll go ahead and do on my end as a project manager, I'm going to let Kelly know that I received that information. Thank you for that information. And we're going to just move accordingly. So what I've done here, I've clicked on my trackpad to the right, and this trackpad is going to pertain to anything pertaining to this specific project. So when we talk about the feed, timeline, log time, expenses, add actions, all that good stuff, that can be found here within the trackpad because this trackpad is going to exist pertaining to this specific project because we have this specific project pulled up, okay? And some things to note, when we open up the trackpad, we can either share a post, upload a file, upload a link, or even make a poll. But what I'll go ahead and do, I'm going to add Kelly. Thank you for letting me know. I'll go ahead and let Jordy know as well. I want Jordy to know because Jordy Smith is our developer. So if there's an issue, you gotta be the one to fix it, right? Please check out the bug on this. Sure. Cool. So what I've done is I went ahead and created that layer of communication. So with image control, we utilize the internal messaging system that Salesforce utilizes, which is known as Chatter. So if you're familiar with Chatter, it's the messaging tool with Salesforce that is historical and searchable. So if at any point you're like, all right, what happened December 13th that made this project, kind of take too long, I can go ahead and search it within Salesforce and it'll pull up, which is great. But also if you're using something such as Slack, we can connect to Slack as well, and then have that information be shown there. All right. So here we are, build framework, and Kai Lenny also has an issue. Let's see what this issue is. Goodness, just nothing but issues here, right? So it looks like it's an availability issue. So attach it to a risk, and it went up to a issue, and now it's going to affect the project. So don't have bandwidth to complete this whole task. Need some assistance. Okay, that's cool. That's fine. What we're able to do is help them out here. And there's multiple ways we can do this. I'll go ahead and kind of walk through one way to do it, but I'll go ahead and do it again in the whiteboard as well. So for Kyle Lenny, and we understand that he may need some assistance, what we can do is utilize our resource assignment wizard. So real quickly, what I'm able to do here is say, all right, Kyle Lenny is a developer. I understand that this action needs a developer. So I can go to my developer team. And if I want to denote some skills that I want them to have for the specific action, I can, as well as, do I want to give them anything? Let's say, it's okay, I don't want it though. Or I can do skill proficiency. So if I choose a skill like the ADM, I can go ahead and say, how proficient are you? How good are you at that skill, right? I don't want anybody bad at that skill to do this job. So I don't really care for that though, because I know anybody in the team of developers is able to handle this. When I hit search, it's going to pull up individuals that is a part of the developing team and look at the schedule for the week that they have. So we can see that this start date for this action is the 11th, which is past due, and it ends the 14th. So I need somebody that has a lot of availability. Kai Lenny has availability. I know he didn't say he didn't have availability. That's crazy because now I'm looking at it and I'm double checking. He has all the time in the world. So honest to God, I don't even need to reassign this because I can see that he has availability. But let's say if Jordy was the owner of this action, I can see that Jordy's at 8 hours for this day, and he probably does not have the bandwidth to complete this whole action. But Kylan is in charge of it, and I know he has the bandwidth. But if at any point, if I want to reallocate that to somebody else, I can by simply dragging and dropping. But also, if I wanted to reallocate to more individuals or even add some contributors, I can just do that, a quick drag and drop, and then reassign the workload as needed. Right? So now instead of Joel being in charge of 24 hours, it's 15 hours, and these are individuals that have all this contribution left. But because I see Kyleni is super available, I'm not going to do that. Sorry. I'm just not going to do that for him. Kyleni, you got it. All right. So this is one great way to check out just a project overview, get an understanding of what's been completed, what needs help, what needs assistance, and if we need to change some things around, we can. But we can see that this build framework currently is on hold for a little bit until we figure out some of these issues, right? So what I'll go ahead and do, we're gonna go ahead and dive into the whiteboard. So within the whiteboard, you're able to get a lot of information all at once here, right? So I can see what's been planned and how many actions been planned for actions and how many hours are left in the in those actions. I can see 2 hours of 2 actions have been complete, and of course, since they're complete, they should have 0 hours left of work to do. What we saw though was our build framework and our build page content at milestone is currently have 2 issues, right? And I can see denoted by this icon right here that there's an issue here, as well as I can see it by this icon as well. There's an issue. So because these 2 things have an issue attached to them, I'm going to place both of them on hold. Okay. And what I love to do, because they're both on hold and are basically essentially our build milestones on hold, I'll go ahead and refresh the page and we'll see something wonderful happen. Wonderful in the aspect of I understand what's going on when I hop into my system, not wonderful in the fact that this is a problem. So as you can see here, our design milestone was complete. So it was green, right? Build is currently on hold because we have issues on both of these actions that we need to get fixed. I'll go ahead and say, let's say our delivered training is currently in progress. And then from here, and wherever we see this icon, and we see this icon a lot of places, the clock icon, boom, boom, and of course, boom, right? So what I can do is I can go ahead and make sure that, I'm logging time against things. So for this specific action, for our deliver training and our deliver milestone, I can go ahead and log time. And when I do log time, I can say, Gabriel, where is Gabriel? Gabriel has put in so far 4 hours and he's not too much completed, but it's still in progress. And we can log time there. Cool. So we can see that this is currently in progress because Gabriel has logged 4 hours out of the 9. So we still have something to do, but he's able to do this, right? Which is awesome. I'll do one quick refresh because I want to just demonstrate what we're seeing within that path icon at the very top. So real easily, what we're able to understand that is our design milestone is complete. Shows green. Our build milestone has some issues, so it's on hold, red. And our deliver milestone is currently in progress because we have Gabriel contributing to deliver training 4 hours, okay? So blue in progress, red on hold, and green is, hey, it's complete. So earlier we saw how we were able to reassign some roles based on the resource assignment wizard. Okay, we're able to do that as well from here. So if at any point I'm looking at, hey, we have an issue. Kylani says he doesn't have time, he doesn't have bandwidth, yada yada, but we know he does. What we can do here is say, all right, let's look up some skills. I want to look up, or not even the skills. I want to look at different. I want to look at my team. So let's go look team of developers filter, and I'll go ahead. I can quickly reassign this work to Joe Parkinson by dragging and dropping. So now Kai can't say he doesn't have time because Kai's not in charge of this task anymore. It's now for our main man, Joe. So what I'll go ahead and do, I'll check this off. This is not an issue anymore. It is not an issue. And because it's not an issue, I believe it's currently in progress. So I'll go ahead and put this to the in progress bar right here. And looky here, it says it's in progress, but we have a yellow icon. Why is that? Because you can't say you're in progress and not have any hours. You haven't logged any time, right? So that's why. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the end date warning as well. So that means we're coming up close to the fact that, all right, you go ahead and fix this. You go ahead and complete this action. Also, some things that we can do straight from the whiteboard is adding a milestone, add actions, but also change the heading, right? So if we're on a project and I want to know specifically, hey, how many actions do I have? As like a Mendoza, I can see I have one, but Gabriel is in charge of one and has 24 hours left. And Kelly has 2 actions, but 22 hours left as well. Also, we can filter by priority, start hour, status, and all that good stuff. And what I love to do is to go ahead and change the priority level here. So what we're going to go ahead and do is look at the preparing milestone or the training milestone. So I'm going to widen that out and put everything on high. And the reason I'm going to do this is because we can see this change within our Gantt chart. So keep in mind our prepared training materials and delivered training is currently on high priority. Okay. And of course, we have an extensive filtering system. This is something that you're going to see throughout the whole system, whether it be in the whiteboard, overview, whatever the case may be. This filtering system is going to be very prevalent throughout the system, and we're going to see it again. I just want to go ahead and showcase that this is available in the whiteboard. So as a project manager, I've done my due diligence. I looked at the whiteboard. I've done all of that good stuff, and I've changed some resource assignments around. But we do understand that this project still may be pushed back just because we have our build page content issue that Kelly Slater was so nice enough to inform us on. So from the Gantt chart, and I like the Gantt chart, we're able to accomplish 5 things here as well. So when I look at our build page content, I can see all this information by just looking at the action details. All right, all I've done here was look at the action details. So I can see who's in charge of it, start and end date. And if I want to add some notes, we can, but we also see that the priority here is high, right? It is a high priority for our build page content. And from here, we can log time and all that good stuff. Okay. So again, this goes from project to milestone to actions. And then if we want to get a little more granular, we could even incorporate our checklist items on the Gantt chart level. But I'm primarily focused on our actions here. Okay. The main thing here, the main play here for me is to create some dependencies. I understand that some of this work I just cannot do until the previous action is done. So we understand that our build page content, because Kelly gave us an issue and say, hey, this is going to push back the project a couple of weeks because we have a bug on the component. I can go ahead and push this back, and it's going to push back those dependent actions accordingly. So now our whole timeline has changed, and if we understand what's the cause, or we understand that I can't do the next action until the previous action is done, right? So what this can do, we can have some notification be sent out, right? So let's say the build framework is complete. And once the build framework action is complete, it will go ahead and alert the action owner of this build page content and say, hey, Kelly, Joe finished his job. It's your time to go. And now we can have that notification be prevalent throughout the system. Again, when dependencies are connected and enforced. Something to note, by design, we do not save automatically. I don't want to get up from my chair, use the restroom for a little bit, come back, and don't understand what just happened, right? So we want you to go ahead and save manually, and we will see that, hey, it's time for you to save because we have this yellow icon right there, unsaved records. And of course, we can export via MS Project, PDF, CSV, and PNG. All right. Any questions? Okay, okay. All right, no questions. Am I doing a good job? Okay, okay. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Oh goodness, we have we got a question. Are there limitations on who can add tasks or checklist items? Do all tasks have to be created at the start, or can bucket items be created to lead team members to create their own tasks? So that depends on you, right? So if you wanted to be a case where only project managers can create tasks, add tasks, and checklist items, you can do that. But if you would like to open that up for your team, you're able to do that as well. So it kind of depends on how you want to do it. So it is possible for team members to add tasks, but if you don't want them to, and you only want project managers to do that, you can have that done as well. And also you can change the job, or you can edit the project on the fly. So if you ever need to add actions or add milestones while the project is currently running, you can do that. You don't have to do this all at the very front. And do all tasks have to be created at the start, or can bucket items be created to lead team members to create? Yeah, so team members can create their own tasks if you give them that permission to do that. Thank you. No, thank you. Appreciate that. All right, so let's just go ahead and say we've wrapped it up here for Mission Control webinar website build for the project manager. I want to go ahead and dive into Alana, and I want to go ahead and focus on all the projects that we have in play, again, as Alana Blancard. So when we look at the Gantt chart level, what we saw earlier was specifically for one project, right? For Alana, she's going to look at all the projects. And this is just going to be fun for her, just to quickly see how much progress has been made on each of these projects. But also she can get even more granular. So remember when I was talking about that control pad? That control pad, I said you can add some custom settings and custom fields to our features, such as the Gantt chart, whiteboard, etc. That's what I've done personally. So as Alana, what I've done is I've added a custom field that says, all right, on the Gantt chart level, I want to see how many hours have been completed and how many hours are remaining. So I can do that all throughout this whole project, and I can even see it at the milestone and action level here as well. One great thing here, though, that I love to showcase and that Alana loves to do, let's say we have our client, right? We have one client and they have 3 projects in play. We don't want to start the second project until the first project is done, right? We don't want to just keep jumping around projects willy-nilly, hopscotching projects. That doesn't make any sense for me or Alana. So what we're able to do within Mission Control is create cross-project dependencies. So we know that, hey, I don't want you to start on this project and these assignments until you've completed this project, right? So I've created that cross-project dependency. And now after the specialty punch out is done, we can start on the exterior swing doors for a different project, right? Cool. And that's gonna, again, denote, hey, it's time for you to go, if you need to. So after Alana has, looked at our Gantt chart and checked out all of these different projects, she wants to do a little bit of resourcing. And this can be done within the scheduler, right? So within the scheduler, you're able to accomplish a lot. And Alana is able to do a lot within here. When she's looking at, all right, the role utilization, role allocation, how much work is she giving to her individuals, but also who has availability to when, okay? And who has some overdue tasks, right? Or even better, who can take on more work, okay? So real quickly here, we're seeing some crazy nice numbers here. And it's automatically showing me that I have a lot of work to do, or Alana has a lot of work to do in terms of resourcing, okay? So as Alana, I'm looking at everybody's schedule. I can see that, for example, Ike Mendoza, and look at these 2 metrics, the schedule allocation and schedule utilization. Schedule allocation and schedule utilization is looking at this 2-week span. So for these 2-week span, and we have 40-hour work weeks, it's going to be 80 hours. So in this 2-week span, Ike Mendoza has 1 job, and it's taking 8 hours of his work or 8 hours of the week to complete this job. Whereas, let's say Jordy Smith, he has 23 hours in this 2-week span of work he needs to accomplish, and we can see it from here, right? What we're seeing in red, though, is remaining allocation or remaining utilization. So for you to understand that pretty well, we're looking at 8 hours for this 2-week span, but he has 92 hours of actions and work that he has not accomplished, and it's remaining, right? So think of remaining allocation, remaining utilization as overdue task. If you have work that is yet to be accomplished, it's still there. It didn't go anywhere. It's still there. And that's what we're seeing here, right? So if I see, and the best example is Julian Wilson. He's already completed this action. He's already done this perfect. So he has 0 hours for this 2-week span, but he has 60 hours of remaining tasks that he has not completed, and they're overdue tasks that he needs to go back in his backlog and fulfill them. So as Alana, I've already done I've done my search. I've looked at everybody's hours, and I can see, honestly, a lot of these individuals, even though this 2-week span, they're good, they still have a lot of backlog. So I don't want to put too much pressure on their plate. But for Lane Beachley, you have some work that can be assigned to you. So what I can do is utilize the filtering system that I mentioned earlier that's extensive throughout the whole platform. I want to look at a team of designers. Filter. So when I look at the filter down a team of designers, I can quickly see who has availability and who doesn't. So I have one human, Lane Beachley. She can get all the work, whereas we can incorporate some machines. And some of our clients like to do this so that way they understand the capacity of machines, schedule them out, see if they have some bandwidth or if they need to utilize a different machine, right? But let's say we have our design UI webinar website build, which is this. What we can do, I can quickly drag and drop and give it to Lane Beachley. And now we're seeing how our hours have been impacted. So I'll take this off again. We can see that she has 9 hours and 75 hours of backlog, essentially. This task is going to be 18 hours. I think I did my math wrong, but you get me. You get me. So she did, 9 plus 18, 27. And then, of course, the remaining allocation went up as well. All right. So whenever we're looking at a scheduling, from a scheduling standpoint, this is a lot of what we can do here within understanding our capacity and our workload. But Alana wants to add another layer of information regarding capacity and bandwidth for her team members. So what she's able to do is look at the resource planner, which is going to give her a more succinct view on capacity, right? So what we're looking at here, excuse me, we're going to look at a specific role, the capacity for over a month, which is 168 hours, that's the capacity, and the total hours of scheduled work they have for this month. I can see a lot of individuals here, 27% is in the green, but I don't want it to be green. So what we can do in the settings is we can denote what is green and what is red. So we can say, if anything, if they're working above 80% capacity, that's perfect, that's green. If they're working from 70 to below, I'm gonna just say that's red because that's not enough workload, right? But so you can set kind of markers of like what do we consider good, what do we consider bad, right? So for Alana, she has 27%. I wouldn't consider this good, so I maybe need to check the settings a little bit here. But for Bethany, she's at 81%, which is great. But Colin Johnson, he's our CEO. He's at 13% capacity. He's not working enough. Sorry, Colin. I know you're gonna be watching this, but you're not working enough, right? So adding another breath and and just diving a little bit deeper, I can go to Bethany, go down, and I can see how much billable work she has, which is 136, non-billable holidays and events. And then I can even see the specific projects she's been working on, AvaDeck, ITA, Emory, and then see how much of that was billable and how much of that was non-billable. So this is just a great way to understand capacity in a real quick view, kind of like a heat map, kind of. And even so, we can look at our machines and they're not being utilized at all. So we can basically say our machines are available to work. Go ahead and do that. All right. And like I mentioned earlier, I said that we have these placeholder roles just in case we understand that, all right, we don't know who has capacity just yet, but we can reassign it on the schedule like you saw me do it with Lane Beachley. I reassigned that work from the placeholder designer to Lane Beachley. I like to look at the resource planner so that way I can see how much capacity the placeholders have, because they should be in the red, right? They should be under 25% capacity, under 10% capacity. So if they're in the green, that means I need to do a better job of reassigning some of this work from the placeholders to somebody else. All right, now let's go ahead and wrap it up, right? Let's go ahead and look into our dashboards. Are you seeing me? Oh my goodness, I didn't know if you were seeing my floating cat or not. All right. Mission Control dashboard. So this is something that comes again out of the box. Within Mission Control and within Salesforce, all the data that you put into Salesforce can be reported on. Mission Control is pulling in project management data so that way you can report on project management data. And that's what's being done right here. So we're seeing hours remaining by role name, projects by status, actions by status, and the role utilization report and things of that nature. So this information is going to be out of the box. So that way, if you want to attach this to your homepage and assign it to a homepage, you can. So as soon as you open up your Salesforce instance, you can get some project management data that is important to you and relevant. Okay. And I think I assigned this to my homepage. So let's see. Yes, sir. And as we see, I assigned the Mission Control dashboard to my homepage. So that way, as soon as I log into Salesforce, I get this information right away. Guys, I know we have 45 minutes for this webinar. Give me 5 more minutes because I want to show you guys a lighter version, right? So earlier I mentioned, and you guys can see it as well, let's be honest here, Mission Control does and is capable of doing a lot, right? So we're seeing a lot of information here within Mission Control. This is from the project management and the managerial standpoint. What I want to do, and you'll see me do this live, I'm going to go ahead and look at my users, and I'm going to log in as, let's say, Jordy Smith, right? I'm going to go ahead and log in as the user Jordy Smith, so that way we can kind of see a more condensed version of Mission Control, so that we understand that Mission Control is capable of doing a lot, but we can scale down the view for specific individuals should we want to, right? So I'm going to log in as Jordy. And then I want you to remember that we have all these tabs at the very top, but I actually have a Mission Control team member app. So what we can do here for your team members, not your managers, for your team members, you can have a team member kind of viewing. So that way we're cutting down a lot at the very top here. So that's way less information, especially for a team member. But also remember how I said you have the manager pad, control pad, launch pad. Joey doesn't have any of that because Joey does not need to see that. All right. And also, if you remember, I actually chattered at Jordy. So it's chattering at a specific, it's connecting to a specific project. And now I'm letting Jordy know, hey, please check out the bug that Kelly Slater has listed out on this Mission Control webinar website build project. Okay. And let's condense all of this. And as you can see here, we've actually condensed these tabs as well. So there's no billing, no time logs, any of that information. It's only some the things that Jordy needs to see here. All right. So again, we can condense the view very, very extremely. All right. So with that being said, I will go ahead and close this out. If there's any more questions, anything else you guys want to see, please put in the chat. We got some time. I got some time. We can go ahead and do it. All right. Is it possible to include projects that haven't actually been won yet to layer on and see potential impact? Okay. Yep. Yep. Yeah. So you can essentially create a project request, or like how I was in the, let me just show you guys. I got it, Shorty. So yeah, you can have a project created before it's been won, right? And then that way you can see the impact of the project. So instead of it being created on the closed one, it can be created at the negotiation phase, have it shoot out, and then have, in a way, just kind of see the capacity of how it will affect everybody as well. Okay. Alternatively, you can go to role forecast and kind of pick out some individuals that you know that you'll need for this job, and then see their workload, or even put a placeholder on their account, right? So I can see Kelly Slater and Gabriel are attached to this. And I can quickly see how many hours they need to be. But then if I look at the allocation, So the allocation so far, this is, oh, that's hilarious. That's in August. But I can say, all right, for this job, I need 20 hours of Kelly's time and 20 hours of Gabriel's time. And I can see their capacity for these weeks and look like they have availability and they should be good there. So you can even do before you create a project, all right? But to answer your question, what I would say, create a project negotiation review before it's closed one, and then we can see how that affects the capacity of individuals. Or alternatively, you can do the role forecast that I'm showing right now. All right. So, Janet, I wish I had an award. I wish I had some kind of feasible thing I could send to your house for being our star player and our star contributor, but I don't. So all you have is my thank you. Gold star. Ah, all right. Now, slow down now. I don't know about a gold star. Maybe a silver one. No, I'm just kidding. So essentially, how we support you, right? So when you come to us, you have an issue, you want to understand, hey, how can mission control fix my challenges and let me see success in the future? What we'll do is go through this process, right? One, we'll understand your business, get on that initial call, identify your requirements, and then understand what you're using now and what your future state looks like. Then we move into a personalized demonstration. I'll be leading that. If you like me, then I'll be leading that. If you don't like me, then I'm sorry. Then we have a 14-day free trial. And what we say here, if you do our 14-day free trial, we always require one check-in so that we understand what you're trying to look for, what you're trying to vet out, and then we're going to point you in the right directions. I personally, I don't like when people trial and they have no idea what they need to see, what they want to do, or how to do these things. I'm here for a reason, and I'll guide you, right? And of course, we'll give you some quick start guides. And then should you move forward with mission control, we have our 90-day onboarding plan that our 4.9 customer success kind of contacts you and lets you know, all right, how things going? You good? You fine? You need help? Right. And of course, we have implementation packages and implementation guides, as well as a learning portal that I use to help me out, honestly, just learn the product, right? So I utilize the learning portal, our monthly campfires, first class support, and knowledge base to just learn everything. And it's completely feasible. And we have clients that have done that. So if you don't want to do implementation, you don't have to because we are native to Salesforce and we work out of the box with no implementation required. If you want to educate yourself, utilize the learning portal and certifications that we offer, as well as contact global user support should you need some, a little bit more, you have some questions that you need to be vetted out, right? On the bottom here is our key metrics and our key impacts. I'm going to tell you right now, we're not lying. We're not lying. So we see a 6,000% in return on investment, increase in attributed profit, 32%, overall increase in efficiency, 45%, as well as an increase in project volume. That's mainly because we're able to just make things easier for you guys, right? And when things are easier, when things are simpler, you're able to complete a project sooner, understand your bandwidth a lot better, so that way you maybe can tackle on more projects. And that's what some of our customers have been doing, if not every single one of them, right? Like I mentioned, mission control does a lot. I think I showed you maybe 20, 30%, maybe, right? And that's all to say, we're going to meet you where you're at. Just like Salesforce scales with you, mission control scales with you. We grow with you. So if at any point you want to focus on just the basics things right now, do it, do it, do it. And then as soon as you get more accustomed to the project, more accustomed to, not project, more accustomed to the platform, unlock more of these features. I had a customer a couple months ago. They were a customer for about a year and a half, right? And they use about 34% of mission control. They said, I want to learn more about financials. So we hop on a call and understand financials. And with our pricing system, we don't do a tier model. We don't do bronze, silver, gold. We do one price and you get everything. If you don't like it, scale it back. And then once you get accustomed to it, turn it back up a notch, right? From resource management to project management to program management, collaboration and productivity, we're doing a lot. Okay. Here's some reviews. I can say the system's awesome. You might not believe me. Believe them. Mission control is mission. I'm sorry, that was cheesy. Mission control is mission critical to our success, and that's from a guy named David F. I believe him. So when we talk about our case studies and talk about the truths that we've seen, we have individuals such as brands. Over the last 3 years, we've had a 30% increase in efficiency, allowing us to deliver more projects and research. So Mission Control's real-time data has enabled each other project managers to save 4 man days per month. Keep in mind, for this specific company, they had about 15 project managers. 4 times 15, quick math, 60 man days a month for the organization. And that's what we talk about. We see return on investment as well as just overall efficiency being increased because we're able to save man days. And once you do that, we're able to tackle on more projects, increase our bandwidth. And if we increase our bandwidth and we're not being overloaded, we're being proactive and making sure we understand the business and making sure we understand, all right, what all can we do and do it well? We're now increasing our investments, not our investments, we're increasing our return essentially because we're making more money. So they were able to modernize and consolidate all the various tools, have an integrated solution, and simplify internal project administration. And then we have Cardinal Health. They were able to improve project visibility and accountability across the organization. And accountability is something very key here. Because a lot of times when I talk to customers, they're like, hey, some of our team members don't know what they're supposed to be doing, or they're not doing it well, or they don't know how much time they need to spend, or the specifics around that. That's a lot of things to not know. That's not okay. So we want to improve the project visibility and accountability, but also improve reporting and customer-facing materials and communications, as well as create a standardization across projects utilizing templates and collaborative tools such as Slack and Chatter. Something to note that I didn't say before, anything that can integrate within Salesforce can integrate with the Mission Control because we're native to the platform. And these are features that I use: Assignment Wizard, which you showed, Resource Management, which I've shown, a retrospective board. This is something I like, and I need to show more of it, but essentially it's kind of like an opinion board saying, all right, we did these two things well on this project, but we did not do this and that well. So next time we needed to focus on this and that, right? So it's kind of like an opinion board saying, hey, this is our feedback. This is what we need to accomplish next time. Last but not least, I know you're tired of hearing me talk. 14-day free trial. Just go to apprica.com, App Exchange. And if you have any live demos that you want a live demo, inquiries at apprica.com. Let's explain inquiries. Interesting. And support resources. Or just contact me, ike.emadosi@apprica.com. Like, it's easy, right? And with that being said, thank you, Gala, Janet, and Paul for joining. Thank you, Janet, for being interactive. I've upgraded your silver star to a gold one. Thank you. And with that being said, it's 12 o'clock on the dot for me. Anyways, it's noon. I got another meeting to hop into. So I hope everyone saw the benefits and the potential of Mission Control. Any questions, please let me know. Go to the App Exchange, download it, free trial, email support, contact support, whatever you need to do to get in contact with us, do it. Because we're serious about helping out. All right. With that being said, bye, everybody. I hope your day is as happy as my birthday. All right. Y'all have a good one.